Marcus Johnson stood on the sidewalk outside the tall glass building. His hands were shaking a little as he looked up at the shiny windows that reached toward the sky. The sign on the front of the building read, Goldman and Associates, in big gold letters. This was it. This was the moment he had worked for his whole life. He pulled out his phone to check the time. It was 9:45 in the morning. His interview was at 10 sharp. He had 15 minutes to walk inside, find the right floor, and sit down with the people who could change his life forever. Marcus took a deep breath and tried to calm his nerves. At 24 years old, Marcus had been working since he was 14. He had delivered newspapers before school, worked at a grocery store after school, and spent his weekends cleaning offices with his mother. Every dollar he earned went toward one goal, getting a good education so he could have a better life than his parents. His mother, Linda Johnson, cleaned office buildings downtown every night. She would come home at 6 in the morning, tired and sore, but she always smiled when she saw Marcus getting ready for school. His father had left when Marcus was 12, and it had been just him and his mother ever since. She worked 2 jobs to pay for his books, his clothes, and his college fees. Marcus had graduated from business school just 3 months ago. He had studied hard every night, often falling asleep at his desk with his textbooks open, while other students went to parties and had fun. Marcus worked at the campus library to pay for his meals. He had good grades and a strong resume, but he knew that getting a job on Wall Street was not easy. There were hundreds of other smart young people who wanted the same thing. The job at Goldman and Associates would pay more money than Marcus had ever dreamed of. If he got this job, he could move his mother out of their small apartment in the poor part of town. He could pay off his student loans. He could finally stop worrying about money every single day. This interview was his chance to make all of his hard work worth something. Marcus looked at his reflection in the glass door of the building. He was wearing his best suit, the only suit he owned. It was dark blue and fit him well. His mother had saved money for 6 months to buy it for him. His shoes were polished until they shined. His tie was straight and his shirt was pressed. He looked professional and ready. He started walking toward the entrance of the building. The doorman nodded at him politely. Marcus could see the elevator, bank through the glass doors. He knew he needed to go to the 42nd floor. He had practiced this moment in his mind 100 times. Walk in, take the elevator, find the right office, shake hands firmly, speak clearly, and show them why he deserved this job. But as Marcus reached for the door handle, he heard something that made him stop. It was the sound of someone crying. Not just any crying. It was the kind of sobbing that comes from being scared and alone. Marcus turned his head and saw a small girl sitting on a bench in the little park next to the office building. The girl looked to be about 6 years old. She had long, dark hair that was messy, like she had been running. Her clothes were clean but simple, a pink t-shirt and jeans with small flowers on them. Her face was red from crying, and tears were streaming down her cheeks. She was alone. Marcus looked around to see if there were any adults nearby who might be with her, but he saw no one. Marcus looked at his phone again. 9:47. He had 13 minutes until his interview. 13 minutes to get upstairs and change his life. He looked at the crying girl again. She was wiping her nose with the back of her hand and looking around like she was lost. Every smart part of Marcus's brain told him to keep walking. This was not his problem. Someone else would help the girl. He had worked too hard and come too far to miss this opportunity. His mother had sacrificed too much for him to throw it all away for a stranger. The interview was the most important thing in his life right now. But Marcus could not make his feet move toward the building. Something about the way the girl was crying reminded him of himself when he was little. He remembered being scared and alone when his father left. He remembered his mother crying when she thought he was asleep. He remembered feeling helpless and wishing someone would come and make everything okay. Marcus walked over to the bench where the girl was sitting. He sat down next to her, but not too close. He did not want to scare her more than she already was. "Hey there," Marcus said in a gentle voice. "Are you okay?" The girl looked up at him with big brown eyes that were full of tears. She was breathing hard from crying so much. For a moment, she just stared at him like she was trying to decide if he was safe to talk to. "I can't find my mama," she said in a small voice. "We were walking to her work and there were so many people and I let go of her hand to look at a dog and now I don't know where she is." Marcus felt his heart break a little. This little girl was lost and scared, and her mother was probably just as scared somewhere else in the city. Marcus looked at his phone. 9:49. 11 minutes until his interview. "What's your name?" Marcus asked. "Amy," the girl said. "Amy Rodriguez. My mama's name is Carmen. She has to go to work or she'll get in trouble." Marcus knew he was at a crossroads. He could comfort Amy for a few minutes and then call the police to help her. That might be enough time for him to still make his interview. Or he could stay with her and help her find her mother, which would definitely make him miss the most important appointment of his life. He looked at Amy's scared face, and then at the tall building where his future was waiting. In that moment, Marcus made a choice that would change everything. He put his phone back in his pocket and turned to face Amy completely. "Don't worry, Amy," Marcus said with a smile. "We're going to find your mama, I promise." Amy stopped crying, for the first time since Marcus had seen her. She looked at him with hope in her eyes. "Really?" she asked. "Really," Marcus said. "But I need you to help me. Can you tell me what your mama looks like and where she works?" As Amy started to describe her mother, Marcus felt something he had never felt before. He felt like he was exactly where he was supposed to be, even though it was not where he had planned to be. Sometimes, he thought, the most important decisions are not the ones you plan for. Sometimes they are the ones that choose you. Marcus pulled out his phone and looked at the number he had written down for Goldman and Associates. His hands were still shaking, but now it was not from nerves about the interview. It was because he was about to make a phone call that might ruin his future. But when he looked at Amy's tear-stained face, he knew he had no choice. The phone rang 3 times before a woman answered. Her voice was cold and professional. "Goldman and Associates, Human Resources Department. This is Mrs. Patterson." "Hello, this is Marcus Johnson. I have an interview scheduled for 10 o'clock this morning, but I'm going to be late. Something unexpected has come up and I need to help someone. Can we please move the interview to later today?" There was silence on the other end of the phone. Marcus could hear papers rustling and the sound of typing on a computer keyboard. Finally, Mrs. Patterson spoke. "Mr. Johnson, punctuality is one of the most important qualities we look for in our employees. The interview schedule is very tight today, and we have other candidates waiting. If you cannot be here at your scheduled time, I cannot guarantee that we will be able to see you at all." Marcus felt his stomach drop. He looked at Amy, who was watching him with worried eyes. She seemed to understand that his phone call was important and that helping her might be causing him problems. "I understand," Marcus said, "but this is an emergency. A child needs help and I cannot leave her alone. Please, can you give me just a few hours?" Mrs. Patterson sighed loudly. "I will make a note that you called, Mr. Johnson. If we have time later today, perhaps someone can see you. But I want to be clear. This is not how we expect potential employees to behave. We need people who prioritize their commitments to this company." The phone call ended, and Marcus put his phone back in his pocket. Amy was looking at him with big, worried eyes. "Did I make you miss something important?" Amy asked in a small voice. Marcus knelt down so he could look directly into her eyes. "Amy, helping you is the most important thing I can do right now. Don't worry about anything else, okay? Now tell me about your mama. What does she look like?" Amy wiped her nose with her sleeve and tried to stop sniffling. "My mama is pretty. She has long black hair like mine, but she puts it up in a ponytail. When she goes to work, she's not very tall and she always wears white shoes because they're comfortable for walking. She cleans offices in the big buildings around here." Marcus nodded. "What's her full name again?" "Carmen Rodriguez. She works for a company that cleans lots of different buildings. She starts work early in the morning and sometimes she has to work at night too. She works really hard so we can have a nice place to live and so I can go to school." Marcus thought about his own mother, who also cleaned office buildings. He knew how hard that work was and how early the workers had to start their day. Carmen was probably already inside one of the many tall buildings in this part of the city, worried sick about her missing daughter. Okay, Amy, we're going to find her. But I need you to be brave and help me. Can you remember anything else about where your mama works? Do you know the name of any of the buildings? Amy thought hard, her little face scrunched up in concentration. She talks about a building with a really big lobby and pretty flowers. And there's another one where she says the elevators are really fast. Oh, and there's one building where the security guard is really nice and always says hello to her. It was not much to go on, but it was a start. Marcus stood up and held out his hand to Amy. Come on. We're going to visit some buildings and ask people if they know your mama. Amy took his hand, and they started walking down the street. Marcus was still wearing his interview suit, and Amy was still in her simple clothes. They must have looked like an odd pair, a young black man in business clothes walking hand in hand with a small Hispanic girl who had been crying. The first building they entered had a security desk in the lobby. The guard was an older white man who looked at Marcus and Amy suspiciously when they approached. Can I help you? The guard asked, not sounding very helpful at all. We're looking for Carmen Rodriguez. She works for a cleaning company and might work in this building. Her daughter got separated from her this morning and we're trying to find her. The guard looked at Amy and then back at Marcus. I can't give out information about our cleaning staff. That's company policy. You'll have to contact the building management during business hours. Marcus felt frustrated, but he stayed polite. This is an emergency. A child is looking for her mother. Can you at least tell us if anyone by that name works here? Sorry, no exceptions to the policy. The guard turned back to his newspaper, clearly finished with the conversation. As they left the building, Amy looked up at Marcus. That man wasn't very nice. Some people are like that, Amy. But don't worry. There are lots of other buildings to check, and I bet we'll find nicer people who want to help. They walked to the next building, which had a huge lobby with marble floors and fresh flowers, just like Amy had described. This time the security guard was a young woman who smiled when she saw them approach. Good morning, how can I help you? Marcus explained the situation again and the woman's face immediately showed concern. Oh no, that's terrible. Let me check our employee list. She typed on her computer for a few minutes. I don't see a Carmen Rodriguez on our cleaning staff, but let me call the cleaning company that works this building. While they waited, Amy sat in one of the comfortable chairs in the lobby. Marcus could see that she was getting tired. It had been a stressful morning for a 6-year-old girl. The security guard finished her phone call and shook her head. I'm sorry. Carmen Rodriguez doesn't work in this building, but the cleaning company gave me a list of other buildings where their employees work. There are 5 more buildings within walking distance from here. Marcus thanked her and took the list. As they left the building, Amy stumbled a little. She was getting more tired with each step. Amy, are you okay to keep walking? I'm tired, Amy said. My legs hurt and I'm getting scared that we won't find Mama. Marcus looked at the list of buildings. They still had a lot of searching to do. He made a decision that surprised even himself. He knelt down in front of Amy. Climb on my back, I'll carry you. Amy's eyes got wide. Really? But you're wearing fancy clothes. Don't worry about my clothes. Hop on. Amy climbed onto Marcus's back and he stood up carefully. She was not heavy, but Marcus knew that carrying her would make the search harder. His suit would probably get wrinkled and his shoes were not made for this much walking. But when Amy wrapped her arms around his neck and rested her head on his shoulder, Marcus knew he had made the right choice. Thank you, Amy whispered in his ear. You're really nice. As they walked toward the next building, Marcus realized something that surprised him. Even though he had probably lost his dream job, even though his future was uncertain, he felt good about what he was doing. For the first time in years, he was not thinking about himself or his own problems. He was focused on helping someone else, and it felt right. They had 4 more buildings to check, and Marcus was determined to check every single one until they found Carmen Rodriguez. Marcus had been carrying Amy on his back for almost an hour. His suit jacket was wrinkled, his shirt was damp with sweat, and his expensive shoes were hurting his feet. They had already checked 3 more buildings with no luck. At each stop, Amy would describe her mother to the security guards or building managers, and Marcus would politely ask for help. Some people were kind and tried to help. Others barely looked up from their work. Amy had not complained once during their search, but Marcus could feel her getting heavier on his back. She was tired, and he knew she was probably getting hungry too. It was almost noon, and they had been searching for over 2 hours. "Amy," Marcus said as they walked toward another tall building. "Are you doing okay back there?" "I'm okay," Amy said in a quiet voice. "But I'm worried about Mama. She's probably scared because she can't find me." Marcus felt his heart ache for this little girl. She was worried about her mother's feelings, even though she was the one who was lost and afraid. It reminded him of something his own mother would do, always thinking about other people before herself. The next building they entered was different from the others. It was not as fancy or new. The lobby was smaller, and there were signs for a medical center, some law offices, and a few other businesses. The security guard was an older man with gray hair and kind eyes. When he saw Marcus carrying Amy, he immediately stood up from his desk. "Is everything all right? Is the little girl hurt?" Marcus felt relief at hearing genuine concern in the man's voice. "She's not hurt, but she's lost. We've been looking for her mother for hours. Her name is Carmen Rodriguez, and she works for a cleaning company." The security guard's face lit up. "Carmen Rodriguez? I know Carmen. She's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. She cleans the medical offices on the 3rd floor every Tuesday and Thursday morning." Amy lifted her head from Marcus's shoulder. "You know my mama?" "I sure do, sweetheart. Your mama always stops to say hello to me, and she shows me pictures of you all the time. You're even prettier than your pictures." Marcus felt like crying with relief. Finally, after all this searching, they had found someone who knew Carmen. "Is she here today?" Marcus asked. "She should be. Let me call upstairs to the medical center." The guard picked up his phone and dialed a number. After a few moments, he smiled. "Yes, she's here. She's been looking everywhere for you, honey. She called the police and everything. Let me tell her you're here." Marcus gently led Amy down from his back. She was bouncing with excitement and nervousness. After what felt like forever but was probably only 5 minutes, they heard the elevator doors open. A woman came running out, and Amy screamed with joy. "Mama!" Carmen Rodriguez was exactly as Amy had described her. She was a small woman with long black hair pulled back in a ponytail. She was wearing a simple white uniform and white comfortable shoes. Her face was red and tear-stained, and she looked like she had been crying for hours. Amy ran into her mother's arms, and they hugged each other so tightly that Marcus thought they might never let go. Carmen was crying and saying things in Spanish between her tears. Amy was crying too, but these were happy tears now. "Mija, mija, I was so scared. I thought I lost you forever. I called the police. I called everyone. Where were you? How did you get here?" Amy pointed at Marcus, who was standing quietly near the security desk, not wanting to interrupt their reunion. "Mama, this is Marcus. He helped me find you. He carried me on his back and took me to lots of buildings to look for you." "He's really nice." Carmen looked at Marcus for the first time, and her eyes filled with fresh tears. She walked over to him and, without saying a word, hugged him tightly. Marcus was surprised by the hug, but he hugged her back. He could feel how grateful she was without her saying anything. "Thank you," Carmen said when she finally let go of him. "Thank you so much. I don't know how to repay you for bringing my baby back to me." Marcus felt embarrassed by all the attention. "You don't need to repay me for anything. Any person would have done the same thing. I'm just glad Amy is safe and that you two are back together." Carmen shook her head. "No, not any person would have done what you did. You spent your whole morning helping a stranger's child. That takes a special kind of heart." The security guard, who had been watching this reunion with a big smile on his face, spoke up. "You know, I've been working in this building for 15 years and I've never seen anything like this. Most people would have just called the police and walked away." Carmen looked at Marcus's wrinkled suit and his tired face. "You look like you were dressed up for something important. Did helping Amy make you miss something?" Marcus hesitated. He did not want Carmen to feel bad about what had happened. I had a job interview this morning, but it's okay. Finding Amy was more important. Carmen's face went pale. A job interview? Oh no, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I should have held Amy's hand tighter. I should have been more careful. Now you missed your interview because of my mistake. Carmen, please don't feel bad. I made the choice to help Amy, and I'm glad I did. I can always apply for other jobs, but Amy needed help right now. Carmen was quiet for a moment, thinking. Then she asked, "What kind of job was the interview for?" It was for a position at a financial company, Goldman and Associates. They help people with investments and money management. Carmen nodded thoughtfully. I clean offices for many companies downtown. I know a lot about the people who work in these buildings. Maybe I can help you somehow. Marcus smiled at her offer, but he did not think there was much a cleaning lady could do to help him get a job on Wall Street. Still, her kindness meant a lot to him. You don't need to worry about that, Carmen. Just focus on Amy and getting back to your work safely. Carmen insisted on buying Marcus coffee at a small cafe next to the medical building. As they sat together, Amy colored on some paper that the waitress had given her, and Carmen told Marcus about her life. She had come to America from Mexico when Amy was a baby. Amy's father had left them when Amy was 2 years old. Carmen worked 2 jobs, cleaning offices during the day and taking care of an elderly man in the evenings. She was also going to school at night, studying to get her high school diploma. Want to become a teacher someday? Carmen said, looking at Amy with love in her eyes. I want to show Amy that education is important and that we can have a better life if we work hard and never give up. Marcus was amazed by Carmen's determination and strength. She reminded him so much of his own mother. Both women were working, multiple jobs, sacrificing their own comfort to give their children better opportunities. What about you? Carmen asked. Tell me about your family. Marcus told her about his mother, Linda, who also cleaned office buildings. He told her about growing up without a father and about working multiple jobs to pay for college. He explained how the job interview that morning was supposed to be his chance to finally make enough money to help his mother stop working so hard. Carmen listened carefully to every word. When Marcus finished his story, she reached across the table and took his business card from where he had placed it next to his coffee cup. Marcus Johnson, she read out loud. I want to remember your name. Someday when I have the chance, I'm going to find a way to help you the same way you helped us today. Marcus thanked her, but he did not expect anything to come from her offer. He was just happy that Amy was safe and that he had been able to help reunite a family. As they said goodbye outside the cafe, Marcus realized that even though he had probably lost his dream job, he felt better about himself than he had in a long time. Sometimes he thought, doing the right thing is more important than doing the smart thing. 3 days had passed since Marcus helped Amy find her mother. He had spent those days trying not to think about the job interview he had missed. He had called Goldman and Associates twice, but Mrs. Patterson told him they had already filled the position with another candidate. Marcus tried to stay positive, but it was hard not to feel disappointed. He was sitting at his small kitchen table on Wednesday morning, looking through job listings on his laptop, when his phone rang. The number on the screen was one he did not recognize. Hello, this is Marcus Johnson. Good morning, Mr. Johnson. This is Richard Wells from Morrison and Partners. I'm calling because I'd like to meet with you as soon as possible. Are you available to come to our office today? Marcus was confused. He had never heard of Morrison and Partners, and he certainly had not applied for a job there. I'm sorry, but I think there might be some mistake. I didn't apply for any position at your company. Richard Wells chuckled. There's no mistake, Mr. Johnson. I know you didn't apply here, but we've heard about you from someone who works in our building. Would you be willing to come in for a conversation? I think you'll find it very interesting. Marcus was curious now. He had nothing else planned for the day except more job searching. Sure, I can come in. When would be good for you? How about 11 o'clock this morning? We're located at 200 Park Avenue, 45th floor. Marcus wrote down the address and agreed to the meeting. After he hung up the phone, he sat there wondering what this could be about. He had never heard of Morrison and Partners, and he could not think of anyone he knew who might work there. He put on his interview suit again. the same one he had worn when he helped Amy. It was freshly cleaned now, but Marcus still remembered how wrinkled it had gotten that day. As he got dressed, he wondered if this phone call had somehow been connected to his decision to help Amy, but that seemed impossible. Morrison and Partners turned out to be in one of the most expensive office buildings in the city. The lobby was huge and filled with marble and gold decorations. Marcus felt nervous as he rode the elevator to the 45th floor. When the doors opened, he saw a reception area that was more beautiful than any place he had ever been. The receptionist was a friendly woman who smiled when she saw him. "You must be Marcus Johnson. Mr. Wells is expecting you. Please follow me." She led Marcus through a hallway lined with offices that had glass walls. He could see people in expensive suits talking on phones and working at computers. Everyone looked busy and important. Marcus wondered what he was doing here. Richard Wells turned out to be a man in his 50s with gray hair and a kind face. His office was huge, with windows that looked out over the entire city. He stood up and shook Marcus's hand warmly. "Marcus, thank you for coming. Please, sit down. Can I get you some coffee or water?" Marcus accepted a glass of water and sat in a comfortable leather chair across from Mr. Wells's desk. He was still confused about why he was here. "I bet you're wondering why I called you," Mr. Wells said with a smile. "Let me tell you a story. We have a woman named Carmen Rodriguez who cleans our offices at night. She's been working here for about 6 months and everyone likes her because she's very friendly and does excellent work." Marcus felt his heart skip a beat. Carmen Rodriguez. This had to be Amy's mother. 3 nights ago, Carmen came to work very excited about something. She couldn't stop talking to our night security supervisor, Joe Martinez, about a young man who had helped her find her lost daughter. She told Joe all about how this man missed an important job interview to help a little girl he didn't even know. Mr. Wells paused and took a sip of his coffee. Joe was so impressed by the story that he told his wife about it when he got home. Joe's wife, Maria, works in our human resources department. Maria was curious about this young man, so she asked Carmen for more details. Carmen gave her your business card. Marcus could hardly believe what he was hearing. Carmen had kept her, promised to try to help him, but he never imagined it would lead to this. "Maria looked you up online and found your resume and your college information. She was very impressed with your grades and your work experience. She brought your information to me because we're always looking for talented young people to join our team." Mr. Wells stood up and walked over to the windows. "Marcus, I've been working on Wall Street for 25 years. I've met thousands of young people who want to work in finance. Most of them are very smart and have good grades just like you. But very few of them would give up an important job interview to help a stranger's child." Marcus did not know what to say. This whole situation felt like a dream. The story Carmen told us says a lot about your character. It tells us that you care about other people, that you make good decisions under pressure, and that you have the kind of heart we want in our company. Mr. Wells came back to his desk and sat down. He opened a folder and pulled out some papers. Morrison and Partners is one of the most successful financial firms in the city. We help wealthy families and large companies manage their money and make smart investments. We're looking for someone to join our financial advisory program. It's a 2-year training program that leads to a permanent position as a financial advisor. Marcus felt like his head was spinning. This was exactly the kind of job he had dreamed of, but at a company that was even better than Goldman & Associates. The starting salary is $85,000 per year, plus bonuses based on performance. After you complete the training program, most of our advisors earn well over $100,000 per year. Marcus could not believe the numbers he was hearing. This was more money than his mother made in 3 years of cleaning offices. "But Mr. Wells," Marcus said, "you don't even know me. You're offering me this opportunity based on one story about helping a lost child. How do you know I'm qualified for this job?" Mr. Wells smiled. "Marcus, we've done our research. Your college grades were excellent. Your professors gave you great recommendations. You worked multiple jobs while you were in school, which shows you're not afraid of hard work. But what impressed us most was learning about your character." He leaned forward, in his chair. "In our business, we manage other people's money. Our clients have to trust us completely. They need to know that we'll always do the right thing, even when it's difficult or costs us something. Your decision to help Amy instead of going to your interview showed us exactly the kind of person you are." Marcus felt tears coming to his eyes, but he tried to hold them back. "I don't know what to say. This is incredible." "Say yes," Mr. Wells said with a laugh, "unless you need time to think about it." Marcus thought about his mother, who was probably at home right now, getting ready to go clean offices all night. He thought about Amy and Carmen, and how a simple act of kindness had led to this amazing opportunity. He thought about how his grandmother always told him that good things happen to good people, but only when they do good things, even when it's hard. "Yes," Marcus said. "Yes, I would love to accept this position." Mr. Wells stood up and reached across the desk to shake Marcus's hand. "Welcome to Morrison and Partners, Marcus. I have a feeling you're going to do very well here." As Marcus left the building that day, he realized that his life had just changed completely. But the best part was not the money or the prestigious job. The best part was knowing that his decision to help a scared little girl had been the right choice, and that sometimes doing the right thing really does lead to good things happening. 6 months had passed since Marcus started working at Morrison and Partners. Every morning he put on one of his new suits and took the elevator to the 45th floor. He still could not believe this was his life now. The scared young man who had almost missed helping a lost child was now one of the company's most promising new employees. Marcus had learned quickly and worked hard. His supervisor, Janet Miller, often told other people that Marcus was the best trainee they had hired in years. He was smart with numbers, good with clients, and everyone trusted him. The other employees liked working with him because he was always willing to help and never acted like he was better than anyone else. But Marcus had not forgotten where his success had come from. Every Tuesday and Thursday evening, when Carmen came to clean the offices, Marcus made sure to stop by and say hello. She always asked about his work and told him how proud she was of him. Sometimes Amy would come with her mother to the office building, and Marcus would show her around and let her color pictures at his desk. On this particular Tuesday evening, Marcus was working late when he saw Carmen pushing her cleaning cart down the hallway. Amy was with her, carrying a small backpack and looking tired from her day at school. "Hi, Marcus," Amy called out when she saw him. She ran over and gave him a big hug. At 7 years old now, Amy was taller and had lost some of her baby teeth, but she still had the same bright smile that had made Marcus want to help her that first day. "Hey there, Amy. How was school today?" "Good. I learned about addition and subtraction, and my teacher said I'm really smart with numbers just like you." Marcus smiled. "That's wonderful. Maybe someday you'll work in a place like this too." Carmen walked over, looking tired but happy. "Marcus, I have some good news to share with you. I passed my test last week. I finally got my high school diploma." Marcus felt so proud of Carmen that he wanted to cheer. He knew how hard she had been studying at night after working all day. "Carmen, that's amazing. Congratulations, I'm so happy for you." "I couldn't have done it without your help," Carmen said. "The money you gave me for books and the tutoring sessions made all the difference." Marcus had been quietly helping Carmen pay for her education expenses for the past few months. He had not told anyone about it, not even his mother. It felt like the right thing to do with some of his new salary. "You did all the hard work," Marcus said. "I just helped a little bit. What's your next step?" Carmen's eyes lit up. "I start college classes next month. I'm going to study to become a teacher, just like I always dreamed. It will take me 4 years because I can only go part-time, but I'm going to do it." Amy looked up at her mother with pride. "Mama is going to be the best teacher in the whole world." Marcus felt a warm feeling in his chest. Watching Carmen work toward her dreams reminded him of his own mother, who had sacrificed so much for his education. Speaking of his mother, Marcus had been able to help her too. With his new salary, he had moved her out of their old apartment and into a nice house in a safe neighborhood. She still worked, but now she only had 1 job instead of 2, and she was much happier. "Carmen, I actually have some news for you too," Marcus said. "Mr. Wells called me into his office yesterday, and Morrison and Partners is starting a new program. We want to create scholarships for people who are working and going to school at the same time. Mr. Wells asked me to run the program. Carmen's eyes went wide. Really? That sounds wonderful. We want to help people like you who are working hard to build better lives for their families. The scholarships will pay for college classes, books, and even help with childcare if needed. I thought you might be interested in applying. Carmen started crying, but these were happy tears. Marcus, you've already done so much for us, I can't let you do more. Carmen, you're not letting me do anything. This is a real program that will help many people. You deserve this opportunity because you've worked hard for it. Amy looked confused by all the adult talk, so Marcus knelt down to her level. Amy, this means your mama might get help paying for college so she can become a teacher faster. Amy clapped her hands together. That's the best news ever. As Carmen and Amy continued their cleaning work, Marcus went back to his desk, but he could not concentrate on his papers. He kept thinking about how much his life had changed since that morning when he chose to help a lost little girl instead of going to his interview. The next morning, Marcus had a meeting with Mr. Wells about the scholarship program. When he walked into the big office, Mr. Wells was standing by the windows again, looking out at the city. Marcus, sit down. I want to talk to you about something important. Marcus sat in the same leather chair where he had first learned about his job 6 months ago. The scholarship program is going very well, Mr. Wells said. We've already received over 200 applications from people who want to go back to school. But I have an even bigger idea I want to discuss with you. Marcus waited to hear what Mr. Wells had in mind. I've been watching you these past 6 months, and I'm impressed not just with your work but with your character. You care about people. You want to help others succeed. Those are rare qualities in our business. Mr. Wells came and sat behind his desk. I want to offer you the chance to lead a new division of our company. We're going to start focusing on helping regular families with their money, not just wealthy people. We want to help teachers, nurses, police officers, and other working people plan for their futures and save money for their children's education. Marcus could hardly believe what he was hearing. This was an even bigger opportunity than he had imagined possible. The position would come with a significant raise and the chance to build something really meaningful. You'd be helping families like the one you grew up in, families like Carmen and Amy's. Marcus thought about all the working families he had known growing up. His mother, Carmen, and so many others who worked hard but never had anyone to help them make smart choices with their money. I would love to do that, Mr. Wells. It sounds like exactly the kind of work I want to be doing. Mr. Wells smiled. I had a feeling you'd say yes. You know, Marcus, when Carmen first told us about you, I thought we were just hiring a good employee, but you've turned out to be much more than that. You've reminded all of us why we got into this business in the first place, to help people build better lives. That evening, Marcus called his mother to tell her about his promotion. Then he stopped by Carmen's apartment to share the news with her and Amy. As he sat in their small living room, watching Amy do her homework, while Carmen studied for her college classes, Marcus thought about his grandmother's words again. She had always said that good things come to good people, but only if you do good things when it's hard to do them. Marcus finally understood that helping others was not just the right thing to do, it was also the path to his own happiness and success. The scared young man who had almost walked past a crying child was gone. In his place was someone who knew that the most important choices in life are not about what you can get, but about what you can give.